Hello my fellow hunters and welcome to Monster Hunter Morph episode 99. In this video I am comparing the 3 most frequent used armor sets in Monster Hunter Wilds Title Update 2. So I made a survey and thanks a lot for all your feedback, which armor sets you were wearing, and I just picked the 3 most popular or 3 most used ones, and I'm going to compare them together, how much DPS each set does with the new elements, and how good is the scaling power vial versus elemental vial, or in general how good this gets scaling comparing to each other. Short spoiler, the difference is pretty low. So as long as you're having 3 pieces of Radau, there isn't a really big difference. Like I think most of you are still using freezing Radau, so didn't expect too much of a difference. So let's start with the first set. So every set has like similar skills, like every set has weakness exploit, maximum might, latent power, counter strike, max out, and burst. So these are the main skills, and also the quality of life skills are always the same. Each set has, which I personally still recommend because it's better. This video is also made for people who never really played Switch hacks before, or trying to make some test hunts or check out how Switch X gameplay is. So because of this I also included up to 2 levels of a weight extender, and also a weight window with flinch free level 1 and a leap of faith, which grants you a higher jump distance from monster attacks for evasion. So these are all evasion skills, and they are really useful, especially for Switch X, since you doesn't really have defensive options. All calculation you can also find on my spreadsheet, which I show you in the comments below. So the main thing we are focused on is the set bonus. So the first set is 3-piece Ray, 2-piece Legiacrus, and we are having as skills, as you can see here, is the uptime. Max out maximum might, max out counter strike with max out weakness exploit. Here you can see the decorations which I've used, and also the amount of these, so from each one, and also the charm I've used. Here I made some short explanations. Thunderous Roar is a set bonus from Radau, which gives you uptime or increased uptime from 50, which is now increased due to the set bonus up to 56% uptime of latent power, because 120 seconds is the cooldown and 150 seconds the skill is active. We also have Azurbolt 1 from Legiacrus, and I watched a video from Dreaming Suntide to get some analysis. You have an uptime of 40%. So it says like 15% extra crit rate, hence you're only having 40% uptime. It's like 6% crit rate, and also do the additional thunder damage procs 0.8 DPS. And also we have guts, so I added uptime of 90%. It is like 5% raw boost, which we are having on all sets. The next set I'm going to compare is mixed Gore 2-piece and Ray 3-piece set. Difference to the previous set is hence we have the handicap of the 2-piece Gore. We have weakness exploit 3 only, because we get more crit from the frenzy buff, which adds additional affinity, and latent powers also only level 4 because we doesn't need more. Instead of this we are having antivirus level 3, and the uptime is around 67%, and we are having the 2-piece set. So yes, same quality of life skills. I also added additional level of a weight window, and yes, Thunderous Roar level 1, so uptime of latent power is also 56%. and also the Magala set bonus, which adds frenzy active, or how it's called, buff. Our buff from the affinity buff from the virus has an uptime of 67% average, depending on how fast you attack and what else, or how fast you heal from your virus. And we also have guards, which is like 90%. Also the deco is a little bit different than from the previous set. And yes, the third set is 4-piece Ray and 1-piece Soshia, which is the least used set of DS3, and compared to the other ones it has maxed out weakness exploit, also maxed out latent power, which has the highest uptime possible compared to these other two sets. These other two sets has an active time of 150 seconds after the cooldown, and this set is 210 seconds active, so 60 seconds more, which is huge compared to the other two sets. So ending up having an uptime of 64% of latent power. And we also have elemental absorption on the set, and I added an uptime of around 50% because the cooldown is 1 minute 30 and it's active for 2 minutes. So, and you also need some time to get afflicted with the elemental abnormal status, or how it's called. So I added around 50% uptime of elemental absorption. So, but there isn't really a noticeable DPS increase of the skill. I just added in for information. Yeah, so we are having Thunderous Roar 2 instead of 1 compared to the other sets, having a higher uptime for latent power, and that's also a better reason to max it entirely out. Also have Guts, like on the previous set, and the same quality of life skills. Also stamina shields come from the right how pieces. So this for the sets. If you're going for absolute maximum high DPS or speedrunner, I saw most speedrunners using this one, Ray and Gore mixed, and in general for the Kamon hunts this is the most used. That's also the reason why I put it on the first at first because yes, with 2-piece Lagiacrus you're getting that extra 0.8 DPS. Now I'm going to compare the Rathalos Switch X versus the Elemental Ordian Switch X's. I explained you the optimal reinforcements in the last video, which is 2 times sharpness and 3 times attack, because you get 5 attack per reinforcement and only 3 element, and that scales a lot better. You're using a hit zone ratio of 3:1. That's like a 60 raw hit zone and a 20 elemental hit zone. The red bars is the damage output of the Rathalos Switch X. We are ignoring the amped uptime in this graph and only focusing on when you're in the amped state and able to smash out your full release slashes. And also the compared to the Ordian A-files. So it doesn't really matter which switch X or what else I'm using for the calculation. The main important thing is, which we are going to figure out, is how much percent does it increase in comparison when we are naked. And yeah, so you could also use any other switch X, but these are, I think this is a really good comparison because the Rathalos switch X is the best, or besides the Lagiacrus Switch X, which is new, the best one, but I didn't include the Lagiacrus because of the weapon skill, and also ignored the weapon decos or weapon skills and because of this calculation. And as you can see, it is pretty same, so it doesn't really matter, it doesn't really make that big difference. When you're naked, you're having on power file like 1.8 DPS, and if you're using these different sets, you're having, let's say it is like 43 up to 46 more DPS, which isn't really too big difference. And if you can see, the Ardian Elemental Switch X does a little bit more damage compared to the Rathalos Switch X. But I think the main reason is because I ignored the onboard crit boost skill, and the main reason was because the Rathalos Switch X is the only powerful Switch X with a crit boost. That's why I ignored it. So in this spreadsheet it looks like it's a bit better, but I'll make a separate video about raw versus elemental Switch X. This is just how good the armor set's scaling. And as you can see, we have the highest damage output with the 2-piece Ray, 2-piece Leggy set, and yes, very close behind this 2-piece Ray and 2-piece Gore, and also 4-piece Ray. Oh, it starts to rain pretty heavily now. I think I have to close the window right now. Okay, that was quite unexpected. And now we are come to the most important thing of the video, which is the scaling power file versus elemental file, with including the new modifiers. And I also added some medals here. And as you can see here, the best combination seems to be 2-piece Ray, 2-piece Leggy, because you get like between 33 and 34% more DPS in comparison if you're like naked to the other armor sets. And on the second rank is 2-piece Ray, 2-piece Gore. You gain 32 up to 33% more DPS depending on your file type. And on the 4-piece Ray set, it is 31 up to 32% more DPS. So there isn't really any big difference, noticeable. So we currently can't really say this combination is the best or this is the best. It's just like using a 3-piece Ray Dow. I also recognize that I'm using, yes. And I also added another sheet here to make a short comparison with colors to show you which is the best one. And as you can see, it's every set is pretty close to each other. You can just also check it out on the spreadsheet. I'm gonna put a link in the description below. If you wanna interested in more stats or more other decos or other skills to compare them, please let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, the episode 100 will be about the optimal either raw versus elemental video or optimal weapon decorations, but I think it's pretty clear. So thanks a lot for watching, see you next time.